with reality here. Why come to Jamaica? It all comes back down to Jamaica as a whole. You know, the food, the music, the culture, the people, the climate. Come out and meet us, come out and experience what Jamaica has to offer.
CVM TV and live Jamaica Premier League action on a Monday night. A match made in heaven. We call it Monday Match Night. Catch all the heart-pounding JPL Monday night action from now until the end of the season on CVM TV's Monday Match Night. Matchday Mondays at 7:45 p.m. with rebroadcast Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Nothing else can quite match up. Monday Match Night, powered by Sunshine Snacks and ABC Electrical.
Jamaica, make we do the right thing. Make we live good today for a better tomorrow. Talk it out, don't fight it out. The time by the Ministry of National Security is
6:30.
We're well into the Yuletide season. In fact, Christmas Day will soon be upon us, as we said, fully into the Christmas season. And it's that time of year when we hear the traditionalists, those who've been here for a while, lament how our Christmas traditions are disappearing year after year. The culture is being degraded. But why? Or even more important than why, is this true? Is this a perception that the Christmas traditions are disappearing? And if yes, what is responsible for the mass killing off of what makes Jamaica essentially Jamaican, especially at Christmas time? I have an educator and a woman very wise in these issues to articulate just that for us, the answers to that question or those questions right here on Lead Story today on CVM TV. Let's start the show. Back with us here on Lead Story. I said back with us, well, this is the first time you're seeing me for the evening, so welcome to Lead Story. We have one episode on Friday for you. That will be the last show for the calendar year. It's been a very good ride. Rocky in parts, but that's what you get with new projects. But we thank you for the support that you've given, the feedback that you've called in, you've texted in, you've seen us on the streets, and you've said, well, hey, so-and-so, tell George so-and-so if you don't see me directly. And we really appreciate the feedback as we try to build out something that is even better than it has been so far in the new year. And it has been a very good ride, to speak frankly. All right, Christmas traditions. Are you one of those lamenting the good old days gone? Christmas doesn't feel the same way it did when you were a child, although I'd venture to say that if Christmas felt the same way and now you're 50 as you were a child, then something is seriously wrong in your life. But the essential point is that some of the things that made the occasion special do not exist anymore. And so I'm turning to someone who would have been marking and charting the progress of these things, who can say if there's been a shift in the culture, if the Christmas traditions have been degraded, why they have been degraded, or perhaps you refute their argument offhand. Dr. Sonia Stanley Naya, she is a senior lecturer in charge in cultural studies, and she's the head of the Center for Reparations Research at the Mona campus of the University of the West Indies. Good evening.
Thank you very much for having me, George. Good evening.
I've always loved your glasses.
Yes.
And many people tell you that, right?
Yes.
There you go. The first thing is, would it be strange if an adult, say 40 years old, 50 years old, can look back at when they were 6 and say, Christmas feels now the same way as it did when I was 6. Wouldn't that be problematic, you think?
I think it will be problematic. We're growing in understanding with each year, I'm imagining, and we would have different opinions about exactly how we celebrate, what's going to resonate with us. Yeah, it must be different at a certain age.
And the reason I pitch the discussion that way is because I have this perspective that when you're a child with no bills to pay, with just basic responsibilities. You play, you sleep, you eat, you play, you sleep, you eat. Different thing from when you have bills to pay, you have people who are responsible for, you have a boss at work who's stressing you, you have a stressful job. Clearly, your frame of reference is different. And I tend to think, Dr. Naya, that some people don't take this frame of reference into consideration when they are comparing now to then, and that bleeds into how we view Christmas and the traditions of Christmas.
Absolutely. When you're 6 years old, all you have to do is wait on Christmas Day to get your gifts and open up everything under the Christmas tree. It's a different perspective completely from when you are, concerned about the JPS bill and the NWC bill and so on. And where's the money going to come from to perhaps buy gifts for what now becomes an extended sort of, network, whether it's people at work with pixies or, children in your household, parents and so on. So yes, there ought to be a sort of difference in the way in which we come to appreciate Christmas. But if you think about, just being a child, I think the lamenting happens because there is a certain kind of nostalgia associated with something like Christmas. And we really all, as adults today, want to be back in those days when we were taken care of and being given gifts.
Yes.
And so we want to be able to appreciate, what is the Yuletide season in a way that is relaxed and, of course, celebratory.
Yes.
And so I think that accounts for some of the lamenting.
Yeah.
But of course, there's a larger issue, which is that the Jamaican society has changed. What has changed? There are people nowadays who, in the hustle and bustle of trying to make life, they don't have time to be thinking about this kind of holiday. Certainly not the relaxation. Some people can't afford it. Things and times are indeed hard.
Yeah.
But also, there's a way in which there is this erosion, I think, of what is our traditional life. And I can use Junkuno, for example.
Yes, I was going to go there. Thank you for mentioning that.
Yes, let's start with what is the real essence of the traditional Jamaican celebration. So if you go all the way back to plantation times, the masquerade tradition that manifests in Junkuno, we see it all over the Caribbean. In fact, the Bahamas is where it is well preserved. I was transfixed by
Junkuno in the Bahamas just recently. Yeah.
Yes. Well preserved in a place like the Bahamas. It's also in Bermuda. There's a masquerade tradition that manifests in the commercial enterprise of Carnival in Trinidad. So we have it all over the Caribbean. But this came from our West African past, our ancestors, right? And this kind of tradition in Jamaica, now I think there are probably 3 or 4 bands that we could find. And there is a way in which not everyone is going to be drawn to either learning about or being inspired by something like a Junkuno, because it's really a ritual that you're performing on stage. It's not just a pretty patchy, pitchy patchy kind of enterprise. There is a deeper meaning. All of these characters have some kind of significance.
Yes.
So are we learning about Junkuno in schools? No. Are we doing anything at the level of policy or, in fact, enabling environment or funding or, anything that is institutionalized in relation to Junkuno? No. And this is where the problem lies, George. I would suggest that as a nation, as a sovereign nation, what we must do is to frame our education system to produce the kind of citizens that we want.
Yes.
And those citizens are people who are going to be very firm in their identity as Jamaicans. And therefore, this would manifest in various aspects of life that we live on a daily basis in our country. So, at the level of ritual, Junkuno, we are certainly not doing anything to enable or to preserve this kind of tradition. Yeah. So that's definitely under the bridge in a sense.
Yes.
The other aspect, of course, is the food. Yes. Let's go to the real eating. Yes. And I think to a large extent we have preserved that. Yes. We have the sorrel and the ham and the curry goat and all of the things that the Christmas cake, black cake.
The black cake.
So that there are ways in which we try to, I don't think we can get around the food. The food is always, we want the food. Yes. The food is the food. So, but there are other ways. The grand market.
Yes.
very much not a big thing anymore.
Not as big as before. Hold that point. I have to take the break. This is Lead Story on CVM TV, talking about Christmas traditions and why many people say Christmas doesn't feel like it did one time, especially when they were younger. And is it a real state, or is it imagined? People get big, have bills to pay, have a whole heap of responsibilities, so they can't enjoy the season as they did when they were like, as Marcia Griffith sang about, storybook children running across the meadow. Yeah? More on the program after these.
Truth is, HIV affects everyone. Truth is, avoiding care leads to a weaker immune system. That means you could get really sick. The truth is, the hardest pill to swallow isn't the medication. It's the problems that follow when you don't take them. Let's get through this together. Remain in care. You can live life to the fullest with HIV. And that's the truth. A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
No more fear of missing out. CVM TV News is on YouTube. Get up-to-date news, sports, and business content at CVM TV News anytime, anywhere. Subscribe now to CVM TV News to see it happen.
Welcome back to Lead Story here on CVM TV. Dr. Sonia Stalinaya, Senior Lecturer of Cultural Studies and the head of the Center for Referendation Research at the UWI Mona is my guest. You were talking about, well, we talk about food and you talk about Grand Market and the big traditions. But as you hold the Grand Market line, because I think it can still apply here. But here's what people, Dr. Naya, say when they talk about the Christmas tradition changing and the value of it being eroded. They say, look, one time gone Christmas, the family wake up early and you whitewash the place from the days before and you rub the cake. And I used to be in charge of rubbing the cake in the big yabba in my granny. My granny and I grew up, and I look forward to rubbing the cake. And when she now look me and rub again, Mama, look, this how she look me. Oh God, that was a part of the tradition, and it just felt like it was a different time of year, of course cooler, so that made you more comfortable, but it just felt that way. But they're saying increasingly less households are putting the kind of effort into it like when I was a child, I imagine when you were a child as well, and they say we're going somewhere leaving those things far behind. Again, real or perceived?
Real indeed, because there are still, and this has to do with the kind of families that we also have now. Some families are broken families. Some families don't have the kind of stability, whether it is go to grandma's yard or go to, or being in a household where mother is always there, not having to work and so on. This society has really changed in so many ways. I happen to be very fortunate that my mother is still baking the Christmas cake. Fortunate enough that she's still around and baking the Christmas cake. And my nieces and my own sons, my own children go to help my mother. So in the same way that you experience, they have this tradition with grandma to go and bake. So there is the way in which some families don't have this kind of tradition. And, you know, some of these recipes are also secrets, George.
Yes.
So some people will try the baking, not succeed at it, and just give it up.
Frustrating.
Yes. But there are those of us who have this tradition and really, you know, despite whether we believe in Santa Claus or we, you know, all of those trappings, we still try to make sure that Christmas is about family. And so I want to wish everyone, you know, get in touch with your family. Make it a holiday about family, whether you believe in all of the commercial and the Santa Claus and all of that. But it is a time to take a break and be with family.
But you said something earlier that has me thinking now, because you said that, look, for instance, John Kuno and what the symbol, the characters in the John Kuno mean. Belly woman, what belly woman mean, or pitchy patchy mean, where horse head mean, and all of those other characters. It's almost as if those who lead us think that these things will auto-regenerate. They'll maintain themselves, as if no concerted effort doesn't have to be made to keep these things alive. And there's a huge gap with those things to keep the culture alive from that aspect. Are concerned, you would agree with me?
Absolutely. And what is fascinating to me is that I had to go to university, tertiary level education, to be able to learn about things like revivalism, Rastafari, John Kuno, and you think about all of this masquerade tradition that I've been talking to you about, tertiary level education. And there's no reason why we can't learn about this in a proper way in primary school, in secondary school. And I think it is a failing of our education system. And I say that categorically.
Yeah.
It's a failing because it's not going to auto-generate in the way that you say.
Yeah.
You have to be able to teach, and education is not a moment.
Yes.
It's a process.
Yes.
And it needs to be a process because there is generational change that happens.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to be able to keep this kind of education going.
Why is it, you think, we have 2 minutes to the break, I hope you can answer in that time. Why is it that the culture in some countries is able to be is bulletproof to the influence of the American culture, yeah? But ours doesn't seem to have that tensile strength to ward off what's coming in from outside. Other countries can preserve despite having access to cable TV and all these things, but everything from there, we soak it up at the expense of what have made us Jamaicans and make people love us and respect us.
Because it's not rooted. It's not rooted. And when I say rooted, I mean institutionalized. When you are at school, you must know about it. When you are in church, wherever the socializing institutions are operating. When you walk through that door, you must see the trappings of what would be traditional Jamaica. Where do we go to see that?
Christian, I can answer you. And that's the problem.
That's
the
the
problem
problem
right there. We take our final break, we come back. This is Lead Story on CVM TV, talking about disappearing Christmas traditions. Dr. Naya's pastor verdict, she says, look, it's not a perception that these things have been eroded. It's real. And we have to fix. Do we want to fix? That's the other question. More after these.
Story, what's your sign? Who dreamers? Don't care what other people say. We're doing this in our way. We come alive. We come alive. We come alive. We're doing this in our way. We come alive.
These days, challenges are everywhere and things are constantly changing, but independent living remains the same. Rising above physical challenges, we can help you do it. For years, we have been Jamaica's trusted provider for solutions to improve patient care, safety, and the general quality of life. No matter your age or your physical limitation, we are the caring store, waiting to serve you. It's time to experience independent living. Visit us today.
It's a conversation that is being had or can be had in so many areas of society. Cultural degradation and those things which makes Jamaica unique, which make people the world over wish they were Jamaican, cotton on to the Jamaican culture. Here at home, we do nothing directly or deliberately to preserve these things, and we're losing fast some of those things that in their rawest form represent what to be Jamaican really is. And so, Dr. Naya, we've touched on the fact that these things are not being taught. You don't look all around you and see aspects of the culture alive and well. So that message of reinforcement does not exist, unlike in other places which almost stubbornly but steadfastly hold on to their culture and celebrate their culture. Is there the appetite among Jamaicans for the things that defined Christmas, for example, to remain, for them to be revived, for those that are here, for them to remain, those that have been lost, for them to be revived, and those that mean the most to Jamaicans, that we do all we can to ensure that they continue holding pride of place? Is there that appetite among the people?
You know, George, I'm a firm believer in the fact that anything you want to really change, you have to start from, in a sense, ground zero.
Yes.
And in our case, we have a tradition. It's being eroded. What you would need to do is go back to the foundation. Every house is built on that foundation. And we can do that in a variety of ways. Do we want to encourage, tree lighting only? Or do we want to be able to encourage tree lighting in parish capitals while we support Junkuno bands? And make sure that there are those traditions happening in each parish. Where do we find Brookings Party, Dinky Mini, and Junkuno as firmly Jamaican, of African heritage, representations in the country, apart from festival time?
Yes.
What is that?
Yes.
And I'm sure we have a lot of people who come to Jamaica who want to be able to experience those things, not just at August 1 or Independence. And so when we have conversations about even eroding the very holidays around independence and emancipation, that, the private sector says, PSOJ, that's not really what they're trying to do, but to have a long weekend. And it's a question about productivity and so on. What we need to be doing is getting the private sector organization of Jamaica to be one of the organizations investing in how it is we preserve Jamaican traditional practices, whether it is Junkuno or to be finding the ways to support and buttress these aspects of our culture.
Yeah. The issue of how American traditions and practices, which Americans hold dear, are now percolating, or even at a more rapid pace than percolating, into Jamaican culture, while those things which made us Jamaican are disappearing. So you have more people now than ever before celebrating Thanksgiving inside their house with
Halloween.
Turkey. Halloween is bigger now than at Halloween is so huge.
Even Juneteenth, I see people acknowledging these things. So
the obvious, I can hear somebody in the audience screaming, so George, ask her, why are these things so popular in Jamaica, but the popular Christmas traditions are no longer popular?
Well, we know because we have all of the media available to us, whether it is traditional or non-traditional, and we're imbibing all of the television programs, we're imbibing all of the social media posting and so on. I think we can't avoid that because we're not, there are those who are completely against this kind of censorship. But we have to be rooted. It's not their fault. This is not a fault of what is coming in. If you are firmly rooted, this is why we have things like morals and ethics and the kind of ways in which we're teaching young people to stand up in the world. So wherever you go, you can stand up and you're Jamaican. What is it that we're going to be standing on in terms of that foundation is something that we have to do at home. I think we're not doing enough at home. There are outliers, George. There are people, myself included, those who are actually actively studying the culture. But every Jamaican child needs to be able to get up on a program and speak about masquerade traditions such as Junkuno.
Yes. And so when you say at home, I know you don't mean literally in the house, but here at home in Jamaica.
At home in Jamaica.
So here's the thing then. We've spoken about the lack of educational directives in these schools for various aspects of cultural preservation. So are you saying that this thing should be led at the local level by mayors, local businessmen, investing in the preservation of things like Junkuno and related cultural expressions at Christmas time? Or must it come from the Ministry of Culture on high to issue edicts for the rest of them to follow down at the bottom level for this preservation to happen?
I think there's need for a holistic approach, and so you can do this at several levels, both at the village community level and of course at the policy level, the legislators, the ministers and so on. And what a better country we would have if there was this kind of coordinated approach where those at the parish level, because I was one of those children that danced in festival, when I was a youngster. I was probably 7 or 8 in primary school. And if you have that at the policy level, at the ministry level being supported, I think I don't hear enough of the ways in which we are trying to preserve certain aspects of our culture. And let's not forget, part of the challenge is also that we haven't accepted, we have not truly valued those aspects of ourselves that we categorize as African. That's part of the challenge.
That's part of the challenge.
Part of the challenge. And that's education.
Yeah. You have your work cut out, not just you, all of us, because this is something that we have to rescue. I want the Jamaican traditions and practices to remain because they're what made us Jamaicans. Nobody wants us to be a hybrid Jamaican American, Jamaican Canadian. They want the authentic raw Jamaican, and if you want to add on other layers after that, then fine. But I'm all for the preservation of this culture because, man, I don't know about you, Dr. Nair, I wouldn't want to be any other nationality.
Well, this is the point, and every Jamaican would say the same.
There you go.
So we need to make an effort.
We need to make an effort. I'll close by saying that she can't be more correct and precise when she speaks to one of the major failings. If it is that we're not looking in the schools, looking around us and seeing concerted efforts made by policymakers, those with decision-making power, to have the culture resound, to have the culture become part of our everyday life, concerted efforts to preserve the culture and to transmit pride in cultural recognition and cultural celebration, then we're on the road to nowhere, and by the time we get to the end of nowhere, we would have left all of the things that made us Jamaican behind. This is about a fight, not a pitched battle, but a battle nonetheless, to preserve Jamaicanness, what makes us uniquely Jamaican, what makes us the life of every party we attend anywhere in the world. The Jamaican stands out. The Jamaican has a natural flair because the Jamaican has a set of inputs into their makeup that is unique in the world. We are chameleon-like if we want. We can be like anybody else. Nobody can be like us. Christmas traditions are a part of that, and we have to see that thing as such. And so it needs the Ministry of Culture to do a lot more, especially where education is concerned. It needs businesses to fund the activities at the community level that strengthen community participation and strengthen knowledge and appreciation of culture. And it needs us as Jamaicans to recognize that what we have is more valuable than that which exists anywhere else. And we're not saying that we shouldn't take on the best of what exists elsewhere, but we must only do so alongside or after we have preserved what makes us uniquely Jamaican and what feel we, as simple as that. I want to thank you for your time. Thanking Dr. Sonia Stanley Nair for her time as well, and appreciate your company on the show this evening. I make way for Nika Lewis with the news at 7. She's sitting in place right now. She just fixed her glasses, and her glasses are not as nice as mine. I'm throwing shade, and neither are they as nice as Dr. Stanley Nair's glasses, but she's wearing glasses, and she's my friend. Good evening.
Christmas time in Jamaica, it's all about the food, the family, and the vibes. And nobody does it better than CVM.
And listen, you see my gunga rice and peas, it's so good. Make you start to sing. Make the Christmas get you.
Oh, look at no, bother with it, please. Let's stick to hosting, IT. Let's leave the singing to the voice box kids on CVM. Not you, though.
This Christmas, we are bringing the taste of the season right into your home.
Ooh, now this is how you do a seafood broil. But don't worry, we'll show you how on CVM Cook Shop.
From your favorite Christmas recipes to all the holiday entertainment, stay locked in to CVM Television.
So from our CVM family to yours, have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
The internationally acclaimed
You've never seen a sunrise quite like this.
Tamaiti Christmas in the Streets is brought to you by Flow, unwrapping holiday happiness. That's Christmasing.
What's your story? What's your sign? You're dreamers. Don't care what other people say. We're doing this in our own way. We come alive.
Get Sagicor School Companion Health Plan for as little as $2,540 per month. The time by Sagicor Life is
7 o'clock. CVM News at 7 Headlines Thursday. Brought to you by Guardian Life. Live secure. Live easy.
Tonight in CVM News at 7, prison escapee fatally shot. Beverly Hills fallout. Opposition calls for resignations. And fines for environmental breaches increased. Also this evening in the business report, the wealth and health of Caribbean nations. While in sports, India women beat West Indies women in decisive game of T20I series.
CVM News at 7 Headlines Thursday. Brought to you by Guardian Life. Live secure. Live easy.
Should critical illness strike? Don't let worry fill your head. Say hello to happiness and goodbye to worry with Guardian Life's new Ultimate Provider Plan. Secure your medical expenses in the event of critical illness ahead of time while benefiting from our investment portfolio and so much more. Give yourself and your family the peace of mind you deserve with Guardian Life's new Ultimate Provider Plan today. And live secure. Live easy.
From Kingston, Jamaica, this is CVM News at 7. It's Thursday, December 19, 2024. Thanks for having joined us. I'm Nika Lewis. Norman Brown, chairman of the Urban Development Corporation and Housing Agency of Jamaica, is under fire after the KSAMC uncovered breaches in a Beverly Hills development. The revelations have sparked calls for his resignation, with the opposition drawing parallels to other high-profile cases. Ramon Gordon reports.
Resign immediately.
Norman Brown, chairman of the Urban Development Corporation UDC and the Housing Agency of Jamaica HAJ, is under increasing scrutiny following fresh findings by the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation that Estate Bridge Holdings Limited breached its building permit for a Beverly Hills development. The KSAMC revealed on Wednesday that inspections conducted on October 31 uncovered significant deviations from the original approvals for townhouse developments at 2 Wycliffe Close. These findings align with allegations detailed in a December 10 Integrity Commission IC report tabled in Parliament. The IC had accused Estate Bridge, where Brown is a director, of deliberately exceeding the approved plans to construct 4 two-bedroom townhouses. Inspections instead revealed 4 four-bedroom units. KSAMC Chairman Andrew Swaby disclosed that these breaches were identified only after the IC's own site visits in July. Swaby noted that construction continued unchecked even after the developer's permit expired in July 2023. Opposition spokesperson on Housing and Sustainable Living, Senator Floyd Morris, reiterated his call for Brown's resignation, comparing the situation to that of former National Water Commission President Mark Barnett, who stepped down after IC findings in a separate case.
We have to make sure that we set consistent standards in governance. It cannot be that one person is removed from their job and then another, because he's connected politically, is allowed to go without any consequences for his action.
Estate Bridge directors, including Brown, have rejected the IC's findings, insisting that the KSAMC never observed any breaches in room count during its inspections. Prime Minister Andrew Holness has distanced himself from the controversy, stating that he has no current involvement with Estate Bridge and does not own the property in question. Meanwhile, the KSAMC is reviewing its processes to strengthen oversight of construction projects. Ramon Gordon for CVM News.
The Trelawny Police have confirmed the fatal shooting of Tyrese Sheets Brown, the main suspect involved in the rape and murder of 15-year-old Jamila Cole earlier this year. He was killed in Allside District, Thompson Town in the parish. Reports are that Cole was at her home in Trelawny when the suspect, 22-year-old, broke in, raped and beat her to death while her mother and female relative were also attacked. Superintendent Winston Milton confirmed the details.
The police team, acting on information, went in search of Brown in bushes in the deep rural district of Freeman's Hall. During a confrontation with the police, he attacked a member of the team with a machete and was shot and injured. He was pronounced dead on arrival at the Falmouth General Hospital. Brown was in custody in relation to the August 6, 2023 gruesome murder of young Jamila Cole at Cotton Tree District in the parish of Trelawny.
Brown now joins Edgar Spence, the other deceased, who also escaped from the Barnett Street police lockup in St. James last week. He was among 4 others who were initially being sought by the police. The police are still, however, searching for Daniel McIntosh. He's 23 years old and he's of Peddler's Lane, St. James. He was charged with possession of illegal firearm. Additionally, 43-year-old Maurice Belnavis of Norwood, St. James, who was also charged, this time with a simple larceny, is being sought. The authorities are once again urging the men to surrender immediately, and they're asking anyone with information on their whereabouts to report it to the nearest police station. A change is coming as the government has increased the fines under the Wildlife Protection Act as well as the Natural Resources Conservation Authority Act. But as we understand, it's been a request for the longest while. Trisha Gay Kelly tells us more.
For years, environmental advocates have voiced one common request: stricter penalties for companies that breach environmental laws. These laws include the Wildlife Protection Act as well as the Natural Resources Conservation Authority Act. At least 2 experts expressed concern with the fines under each act as recently as 9 months ago.
Right now, the private sector has the upper hand. They can pollute and damage the environment and get away with it.
What are they getting? A slap on the wrist? $50,000 or $100,000 under the NRCA Act or the Wildlife Protection Act? It's not adequate. If we were supposed to adequately enforce existing laws, I believe we'd be in a much better position with respect to our environment.
And it seems their calls for stricter penalties were heard, since the fines under both acts have been amended from mere thousands of Jamaican dollars to millions. It was only fitting that we revisited CEO at Jamaica Environment Trust Dr. Tyrese Rodriguez Moody to hear the advocate's view on the increase.
We are aware that the amendments to both the NRCA Act and the Wildlife Protection Act was tabled before Parliament. And yes, there are significant improvements in the fines. And this is a really good thing. It's something that we've been calling for over 10 years, I believe.
The fines range from the lowest $1 million or 6 months in prison up to $5 million or 5 years in prison, with the deterrence averaging $3 million or 3 years in prison. Dr. Rodriguez Moody says, however, they await improved enforcement of the acts.
This is not fully through the gate, right? So it has been tabled, but there are a couple more steps to be taken before it is approved. A couple of the things that we are pleased with is that now body corporate is specifically included. This wasn't there before. And so on top of the fact that fines are higher, body corporate is now specifically allowed, and you can go all the way to circuit court.
The expert has listed this a step in the right direction. Trisha Gay Kelly, CVM News.
Well, a planned boycott against the Trade Winds Citrus Limited Company may be in the loo after Friends of the Rio Cobre Association president mentioned the group's strategy to restore some justice to impacted residents. SFOR, however, says the company remains confident in its standing with the community. Trisha Gay Kelly has been tracking this story.
If things don't go as planned for the Bogwalk fishers and residents when the Director of Public Prosecutions intervenes in the Tradewind Citrus Limited matter, Friends of the Rio Cobre Association is planning to boycott the Bogwalk-based company. This follows attempts by the group to settle with Tradewind Citrus. However, their attorney, Dr. Marcus Goff, says their proposal was rejected.
Friends of Rio Cobre put forward to Tradewind Citrus a proposed settlement compensation claim for approximately 150 odd fishers, and that was flatly rejected. And that was really with a view towards settlement in the context and the spirit of wanting to have relations that can lead to more desirable partnership. So if we were to go to court, then that sum would be much more in terms of the calculation of injuries and damages suffered by the fishers.
But the big question is feasibility. Will Jamaicans go against the truly Jamaican brand? President of the Friends of the Rio Cobre Association, Ramon Gordon, believes it can be done.
People are clamoring for the boycott because people have started already. People have stated that they have stopped buying their products for some time, and particularly for what took place in the last 2 weeks, people have decided that they are not purchasing their products.
Despite this, however, Tradewind Citrus Managing Director Peter McConnell assures his company remains committed to the community and the environment.
Again, we stand by our products. We know that our products are good quality products, affordable products for all different price range, all different needs. And the consumers will decide. And, we didn't get to where we are as market leaders in several categories by not producing good quality products at an affordable price consistently. We promise to continue to do what we do to protect the environment.
The boycott, however, raises questions of the community's loyalty to the company, which has provided many employment opportunities for residents. But CEO at Jamaica Environment Trust JET, Dr. Tyrese Rodriguez Moody, says this mentality is part of the bigger issue.
We're not saying that it's not important. The economics are important. But if you put profit over people and planet, we have a problem. Really and truly, it should be the opposite. It should be people and planet over profit. Because if you prioritize those two, you will have a healthy economy.
Trisha Gay Kelly, CVM News.
Stay with us for more CVM News at 7 in just a moment.
Join my private room. Only $1,000 for a grand time.
That I know me. We never said that. But who going to believe me?
That is correct. $4,350,000. Yes, go ahead. $4 million? I never approved that.
Yes, me go doctor tomorrow. So me have to get the money today, no longer. Then no me face that. We never make no record or beg nobody no money.
Deepfakes are AI-generated images and videos made to look and sound like people we know and trust. They're used to spread misinformation, destroy reputations, and are used to commit fraud and scams.
Don't fall victim to deepfakes. Protect yourself. For more information, visit broadcastingcommission.org or scan the QR code on screen.
What up here? The cake smell nice. Kirk? How will me look at bonus day? I bet you say me like room pan computer. What kind of Christmas you have where you can't even touch your friend them?
Grandma, not like back in your days. Boring.
Little boy, don't make me have to beam you back to earth. You know, back in my days, we used to have fun. We used to gather together in the district and ramp. At least me could have touched my friend them, and we used to blow the fifi.
Grandma, what is fifi?
Little boy, come help me decorate the place before your parents come for you. Come.
Grandma, you know what I want for Christmas? I want the iPhone 16 Pro and an Xbox Series.
Why? Uno nowadays pick me. Come we go take a selfie.
Grandma, you know about selfie?
Of course we know about selfie.
Make this season one to remember. Sharing love and laughter. Merry Christmas from Bank of Jamaica.
Welcome back to CVM News at 7. Jamaicans are traversing the roads to join family and friends for holiday celebrations. However, the increased traffic may result in a rise in road accidents. 2 deadly crashes in Manchester over the weekend are among the latest incidents. Britannia Witter has the details.
With the festive season in full swing, statistics show a typical rise in traffic accidents as many people travel to celebrate the holidays with family and friends. Since the start of December, over 10 people have lost their lives on the nation's roads. This as 2 separate fatal crashes in Manchester claimed the lives of 2 individuals over the weekend. The first incident, a motorcyclist identified as 34-year-old Matthew Wilkie reportedly disregarded traffic regulations on Caledonia Road near North Racecourse Road. He collided with a motorcar, resulting in his death. Just a few hours later on Sunday around 11:30 p.m., Orlando Clark was driving a grey 1996 Nissan Sunny along Finegrass Main Road near Evans Quarry when he reportedly lost control of the vehicle. The car veered off the road, striking a utility pole before crashing into a concrete wall. Clark was accompanied by 2 passengers. 28-year-old Camona Forrest, a resident of Virginia Bombay, Manchester, succumbed to her injuries, while 31-year-old Chantel Anderson from Chantilly District, Manchester, sustained injuries but is in stable condition. Clark remains in critical but stable condition. The accidents were followed by another collision on Finegrass Main Road on Tuesday. While no fatalities were reported, one alleged eyewitness had a strong message for motorists.
What I would like to appeal to the drivers on this stretch of road today. Caution. If you want to have caution, then it can be better. But don't come out here every day with the speed kill. And you know what's a speed kill? Because you have families out there who are suffering. Yeah? You have kids who lost their parents. You have mothers who lost their husband. So, be careful. You have one life, your life, your kids' life, your grandchildren's life. Be careful, man.
According to the Road Safety Unit, Jamaica recorded 425 road fatalities in 2023. This represents a 13% decrease when compared to the 488 fatalities reported for the corresponding period in 2022. Meanwhile, the Island Traffic Authority has projected that road fatalities will fall below 400 for the first time since 2019, with an estimated 388 deaths this year, a 14% decrease when compared to 2023. Manager of Corporate Communications and Public Relations at the Island Traffic Authority, Dante Matthews, urged motorists to be extra careful as they celebrate this silly season.
Now, we understand that a lot of persons will be going to parties, family events, other events, and would want to consume alcohol, right? Now, if you're going to be drinking alcohol, don't get behind the wheel. Have somebody designated to drive you home, right? Whether it be you call someone to come and pick you up, or if you're traveling in a group, you designate somebody in that group who will take everyone else home. We want to encourage everybody to be vigilant this festive season. We want them to stay alive so that they can live to see 2025, right? We all have a shared responsibility in ensuring that our roadways are safe.
As of December 18, Jamaica has recorded 351 fatalities from 303 fatal collisions. Britannia Witter, CVM News.
Residents of Manchester can finally breathe a sigh of relief as police ramp up efforts to ensure their safety ahead of the holiday season. The latest move, a major operation in Porus, where, as Shante McNeil reports, 9 individuals have so far been detained.
The Manchester police are stepping up their fight against crime with a major operation in Porus Thursday morning. 9 individuals were detained during the operation, led by the division's commanding officer, Deputy Superintendent of Police Kerry Duncan, as the police intensify efforts to restore calm to the area. This crackdown comes in the wake of a double murder and threats aimed at the Porus police station following the fatal shooting of a murder suspect, only known as Bagalos. DSP Duncan confirmed that these threats are being taken seriously and efforts to track down the source are ongoing.
As a JCF, we take all threats seriously, and we have been looking for the person who made that video. So going into the Christmas season, I know that there is a concern about commerce and other activities within the space. We have to take a broader look at the safety and security, and as such, we have applied for and been granted to conduct curfews within this space.
Duncan says he's, however, considering a reimposition of the curfews to be lifted on Thursday evening by the weekend. He says the intention is to have them in place until crimes are controlled in the area. Residents, shaken by recent events, have raised safety concerns. Duncan is, however, assuring that the operation is designed to address these fears.
Looking for some persons within the space that we believe are influencing the violence in the space. Some we understand are still here, and some have migrated from the space. So I just want to take this opportunity to reach out to the good citizens, the good residents of the greater Porus area, right, to just partner with us, right, because our effort is really to ensure their own safety and security.
So far this year, 210 major crimes have been recorded in Manchester, including murders, shootings, robberies, rapes, among others. The Manchester police say they remain resolute in their mission to curb the rising tide of violence. Shante McNeil, CVM News.
Despite the season's rush, some business operators on the hip strip of Maverley are not feeling the spirit with a slow cash flow. They're lamenting the poor environmental conditions and overhanging enhanced security measures for their Christmas woes. Courtney Lewis was in the community today.
The Maverley community, once known for its high rate of crime, is apparently undergoing a transformation as residents are changing the narrative with their bustling business community. But there are some mixed feelings this holiday season as infrastructure developments and a lack of permits are seemingly impacting sales.
It's slow. When I say slow, it's a snail. Not at all. Now going right now.
Business really gone down, and then you have like the Maverley Park, that's kind of stopped the business because it's park full of bushes, as you can see, and persons are afraid to come through the park. And most of my customers used to come from the park back and forth, and it's very slow.
The residents blame the economic downturn on the overgrown Maverley Park, or what's left of the former flower garden, with less foot traffic and fear of crime producers coming to the fore.
Be a bush, afraid to walk through there and something because over there I have no light, and robbery and them something, rape can go, anything can happen. So when it touch certain times, like with a lock a little bit later, we have to lock early now because we have to try to reach home before the park get dark up. You understand?
It was so nice when I used to go and I'd go play domino, clean park. And finally take it over, so them I fix it, then start it and stop it at that stage. So a pure bush in a pure big tree and bush. We can't even walk through it when night come.
Right now, it need to clear out or fix up or finish. Because them started fence round, but they don't finish it. And anybody cannot pass up that way, anybody just rush out and do what they want to do with them.
The park was set to be remodeled in 2022, but after added fencing and tree planting in the park, no further work has been done. But that's not all. Some residents report businesses swell this season, but are dissatisfied by the lack of event permits, despite a decrease in crime.
Business up, can't complain.
can't complain.
It's all right, but can pick up more better because the place I need a little curfew, like nothing now keep, so things have to keep so people can buy clothes to go party and not really keep because them not getting a permit or nothing for the area.
So far, we have no violence. It's not here. May other place much hot here. So far, the community is going good. The unity is good right around here. And while we have that freedom, then business will be greater than it is now.
The residents are now holding on to hope that their political representatives will boost their money-making efforts and pick up the pace on developing their once-loved community green space. Courtney Lewis for CVM News.
We take a break. More to come. And we go to the business report with Joel Croskill ahead of that break.
Lots to share with you in the business report today, relating to the wealth of Caribbean nations and the health of their citizens, recently explored by experts from the World Bank and regional health organizations, as the growing challenge of non-communicable diseases NCDs were submitted for examination. The unique challenges of tackling NCDs in island nations was brought into stark relief by Lilia Barunchuk, the World Bank's country director for the Caribbean.
I don't know if you know, but over 75% of deaths in the Caribbean are attributed to non-communicable diseases like cardiovascular diseases, cancer, hypertension, and diabetes, mirroring the actually global trend where these diseases dominate the public health landscape. However, the news is not all bad. The data shows that targeted actions can result in significant cost savings and improved health outcomes, offering a pathway to both healthier populations and stronger economies.
Devastating economic consequences, including productivity decline and unsustainable healthcare costs, have led to losses equivalent to 5.87% of GDP, with Jamaica suffering $17.2 billion in lost economic output over 15 years, according to data referenced by Dr. Edith Valenyi, World Bank senior economist.
Now, there has been lots of very exciting economic analysis, diagnostics done to understand really the impact of not only on health, but as it was said, on the economic impact of NCDs. And quantified, it really means that about 75 million annually is lost in NCD-related productivity in Barbados. While in Jamaica, another study which was looking at a 15-year horizon, it was identifying a 17 billion economic output over this time period. So this is the huge impact.
Without targeted interventions, the World Bank's analysis suggests the region faces rising premature deaths or deaths before the age of 70 and escalating healthcare expenditures.
Addressing non-communicable diseases requires more than healthcare reform. It actually demands a very important societal shift. And by adopting actionable strategies and leveraging insights from across the region, we can tackle root causes and create sustainable solutions to address this issue. NCDs is not just a health challenge, it's an economic imperative. And the future of health in the Caribbean must be one where we act decisively to address non-communicable diseases and to protect our economies and, of course, to protect people's lives in the Caribbean. Together, I think we must invest in prevention, strengthen healthcare systems, and create policies that ensure healthier, more productive lives for all Caribbean citizens.
According to Dr. Shayna Sire-Filbert, Senior Medical Officer in the Ministry of Health, Wellness and Elderly Affairs in St. Lucia, that ambition will require massive buy-in across sectors.
We have not come to a point where we see health as a right. And so we don't treat it as a right. Many times when we think about the right to health, we're thinking the right to healthcare, and in a lot of cases, the right to secondary healthcare, which in itself is a problem. It has to be health in all policies. There has to be an all-of-society approach to actually target NCDs. So I think for a lot of our Caribbean countries, health, in a sense, is almost on the Ministry of Health's shoulders, and it should not be. Health needs to be the business of all. And so that the sectors need to be able to speak to each other. We need to have commissions with multiple sectors.
However, the World Bank suggests the roadmap to recovering the health profile of the region is well known.
In the case of investing in prevention, we've seen it in various studies, but very specifically in Jamaica, which has done an excellent investment case. We have seen that for every $1 spent on NCD prevention, $2.1 has been the return. So it's a no-brainer that obviously we need to invest in prevention. So we have the recipes, we actually have the interventions, you see them right on the screen, and it's again, no-brainers, you know all of them, tobacco taxation, alcohol taxation, advertising bans, road safety, and so forth, and creating environments where you want to do exercises. So we have these interventions right at our fingertips. But the challenge is that they're not always implemented to the extent we wish them to be.
And that was your business report. I'm Joel Crosskill.
We take a break. Stay with us.
KFC, it's finger-licking good. The Time by KFC is...
A new story is being written for all Jamaicans. The Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation is on a mission to transform lives. From increasing access to potable water, providing secure homes for the most vulnerable, and helping you own a piece of the rock, we're revitalizing communities and preserving our environment. And with every road built and every investment made, we're making an impact. See the difference. Feel the difference. Building a better Jamaica for you and me.
You can feel it. Oh, make JC. At Jamaica Pegasus, your 2 front seat for Christmas comedy cook-off.
Thursday, December 26th at the Grand Ballroom of the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel. Gates open 6 p.m. Showtime 7:30 sharp. Call 876-542-4160 for ticket info. Christmas comedy cook-up, serving up laughter.
At Jamaica Pegasus, your 2 front seat for Christmas comedy cook-off.
All I want for Christmas is...
Wait, Chris and Charles has great loans and something extra special this season?
Yes, we're spreading joy to everyone. Starting November 1st, 2024, get a low interest rate Christmas loan and a special reward just for you.
Call 876-926-0609
or visit our website for details. Better hurry, conditions apply. Stocks are limited. Promotion ends December 23rd, 2024. When you think loans, think Chris and Charles.
Welcome back. Here's what's happening on the social media landscape.
So what's trending in our local social media spaces? Honda and Nissan are considering joining forces in a potential merger, which could also include Mitsubishi. If it happens, the combined company would become a major rival to Toyota in Japan. Social media users are reacting to this. At Orlando W. Ski writes, one of the most reliable meets one of the most unreliable. At Afigo Events J.A. shares, this will be an issue for me. Honda is Honda. Why mix that brand? That's like wearing clean clothes and the